Hello. Today we are going to talk about Fantomas. Alright, so Fantomas is a French movie trilogy loosely based on James Bond, Mission Impossible, and those types of movies. Now, I have very fond memories of these from when I was a kid. We lived in a communist country, Czechoslovakia, and we were not exposed to anything Western, so this was the most Western thing we got. It was kind of not a copy, not a clone. It took ideas from the movies that were out and popular at the time and created its own world and story around those ideas. And it did it very well. These are just as good as those 60s James Bond movies, like Roger Moore James Bonds and the old Mission Impossible series. They're very, very good movies. If you guys have a chance, you really do need to check them out. First one is called Fantomas. Now, there are three main characters: Fantomas, Inspector, and a journalist. Now, Fandor, who is the journalist, I can never remember the inspector's name, but Fandor, who is the journalist, basically does a fake interview with Fantomas, pretending to know him and talk to him, and Fantomas doesn't like it. He threatens Fandor and then commits a bunch of crimes in both this guy's face and this guy's face, putting on masks in order to frame them and so on. Okay, there is a lot of that going on. Fantomas is a master disguiser. That's why he has this greeny blue face. You never know what he looks like. You don't know whether that's a mask or it's this is his true face, but that's what he always looks like. Now, it is very exciting, when he's putting on a mask and then suddenly becomes somebody else. And it was the thing at the time, the in thing, the whole Mission Impossible. Let's pull the mask off, and this is who I really am. It's a nice gimmick for a movie. It does really work, especially at the time, and it was a novelty. The second one is called Fantomas Lobby. It's obviously not the French title. These are the Czech copies, and that's loosely translates to Fantomas is angry or Fantomas is mad. And in this one, Fantomas decides to kidnap some scientists in order to help him make a doomsday weapon so he can terrorize the world. And Fandor's idea is to dress himself up, wear a disguise. Lots of disguises going on in this one as one of the scientists, and a lot of confusion, a lot of crazy stuff going on. There's a bit on a train where it's sort of like a little bit like Murder on the Orient Express. A lot of craziness, a lot of wacky humor going on. Especially this guy who is basically the comic relief, and he's always running around losing his mind and being funny. So very, very good movie. This is actually my favorite of the trilogy, and it is the most James Bond like. It even has a flying car with wings, and obviously a flying car would have wings, otherwise it would need to have some sort of helicopter like propeller. Redundant comment there, but hey, yeah. All right, so this is a very, very good one. Now the third one is, no, wait a second, this is the first one. The third one is called Fantomas Against Scotland Yard. Now, this one is a bit of a departure from the other movies because it is not set in France, and it takes place in Scotland. And Fantomas put some sort of head tax on rich people, and one of the rich guys invites the inspector and the journalist to come over, along with a bunch of, there's, a lot of Scotland Yard officers that go into this castle, and they set up a trap for Fantomas. All these movies are absolutely crazy and fun and awesome. Like I said, the second one is my favorite, but they are all very, very good. There's lots of slapstick humor. There is a lot of underground secret passages and lairs and gadgets and stuff like that. These old movies, they had a lot of innocent charm. Technology these days is getting so good that it's hard to replicate that innocence and excitement for what's coming. Like they had things like cell phone shoes, Get Smart type gadgets, and simple stuff where somebody just recording someone with a little remote tape recorder was considered high tech. You know, these days you've got drones, you've got crazy implants and bionic arms, and you know they're attaching artificial limbs to people, and there's just insane stuff. You know, so it is hard to get back to those times, and that is why these movies have so much charm and so much fun to them. Now, I every time I watch these, it makes my ideas flow like immediately. As a creative person, I just absolutely love, you know, coming up with little stories that, you know, I could create out of what I've seen. Again, inspiration, you know, like you've got a mastermind. So what if we put a bunch of underground passages under the entire city, and this guy just, you know, he can escape and leave through any building, because he's got literally entrances and exits around the entire place. And you know, and this is loosely also based on me being a kid, and the fact that I lived in a town where there was underground passages under the entire city. So when you're a kid, you see these movies, and then on top of it there is underground passages. Did I say passengers? I think every one of these videos there's at least one or two words that I have to completely mess up, but hey, you know, that's part of the charm, right? Now, because it was a medieval city, we had a castle and all that sort of stuff. There was a lot of escape routes and transport routes under the city. A lot of them were blocked, but as kids we still, you know, hung out at the entrances and that sort of stuff, and pretended to be Fantomas, you know, because he by far was the coolest guy out of the series, even though he was a bad guy. Kids loved him. I know that later on they started making Fantomas masks and, you know, stuff you could buy. But again, absolutely awesome series, and you guys need to check them out. If you can find these, even if they're in French, I'll just pick this one up off the floor. Even if they're in French, try and get them with subtitles or something, and you know, you will love them. If you loved that 60s slapstick humor, Roger Moore type James Bond movies, that sort of thing, you guys will really enjoy these. Say, first one Fantomas, second one Fantomas is Mad or Fantomas is Angry, and the third one Fantomas against Scotland Yard. Now, again, really fond memories of these. I still watch them. I think last time I watched them was about 6 months ago. And completely honest, I loved them just as much as when I was a kid. Now, I didn't go outside and start pretending to be Fantomas, you know, but there is that little element where you're like, oh, you know, wouldn't it be cool to have an underground lair? And, you know, obviously I don't want to be a bad guy and be like him, but you know, that excitement of being that technologically advanced and having these escape routes and flying cars and you know, being able to put on a mask and pretending to be somebody else, that's pretty cool. I mean, you know, most boys, you know, young boys, they would love this movie. And even now, if this was dubbed into English, which leads me to the last point about the movie. We never got the French version. Well, we got the French version of the movie, but we didn't actually get the French-speaking version. What we did get is an overdubbed Czech version. And because I'm so used to that, I actually prefer it to watching the French version. This guy especially, and I always forget his name, Louis de Funès, something like that. That's the actor's name. He was in a lot of French movies. He was a famous guy back in the day, and he was crazy, slapstick, you know, sort of like if you think of Peter Sellers in Pink Panther. This guy was like that times 10. I love Pink Panther. I love Peter Sellers. Different style of humor, but you know, he was hilarious. And the guy who dubbed him in Czech did a really good job. And listening to it now, there's probably a lot of bias, but I do prefer the Czech version. For you guys, it won't mean the same thing. And, you know, if you can find the French one with subtitles, hey, that would be awesome. If you can find an overdubbed English version, cool, even better. I doubt that's going to happen. I don't know how popular these were outside of Europe. In Europe, very much so, but outside of Europe, not sure. Now, If you guys do get a chance, track these down. If you're a lover of old movies, of anything fun, of crazy 60s stuff, conspiracy theories, underground passages, people dressing up with lots of masks, that sort of stuff, you will love them. Thank you for listening, and I will see you guys next time.